Hi, welcome Kawalya Robert. In this tutorial, we are going to look at uh, Oracle. Oracle is a database management system and it uses a language what we call SQL or SQL. Yeah, so SQL is a language that is used to communicate to the database. In this tutorial, we are going to look at what we call data definition and data manipulation. So, what is it basically? Uh, Data definition and data manipulation, what we are going to look at is how we can create tables into the database, how can we rename those tables, uh, creating table. By the way, a table is a collection of data stored in what rows and columns. So we are going to create columns, then we shall we shall be able to understand how we can rename those tables that we have created, and then maybe we shall look at how we can rename those columns, how can we drop, eh? How can we delete, maybe we want to delete the rows that we have created, and then how can we insert data. So this is what we are going to look at basically in this tutorial of Oracle data definition and data manipulation. Yeah, in this tutorial we should be knowing what we call a data type. A data type in Oracle, we have different data types that can be used. There is VACA. So VACA, it's uh, for text data, maybe uh, letters. Eh? So we can use VACA or VACA2. Yeah, but I would recommend VACA2. Then there's also number. It is used for numeric. Maybe you have amount, maybe 1 million, 2, hey? So we can use a data type called number. And then there is another data type which we call date or timestamp. So timestamp, it is used for maybe you have a column for date of birth, and yeah, something like that. So you can have that that type of timestamp. So you shouldn't be worried on how you're going to use the data types to create tables. We shall look, and then we should be knowing constraints. Constraints. Maybe we shall get to know more about constraints when we are applying them practically. So among constraints that are used in Oracle, there is null, not null, primary key, foreign key, unique, and then read only. So null means assuming you have a column, it has a name, it has name, column, and then maybe uh, registration number. Oh, so maybe we want someone. Okay, someone can be having. Uh, okay, we have three columns. We have a city column, city, a name, and then maybe country or nation. So, assuming we are not more interested in knowing the city, so that field for city can be left out. Maybe someone's having the name as Robert, and then the country is Uganda. Then we can skip the city the city field. And then null, it means that field it must be filled in with some credentials. Yeah. And then primary key. Primary key, it's a unique identifier in a table. So maybe you're having a table called regions. So in regions, there is region ID. So that region ID, each region must be having a unique ID, maybe 01, 02, or 1. That's an ID. It means I you cannot find that ID in other words. So a foreign key simply it is a primary key in another table. So assuming we have a table of countries and then another one of regions. So you can you can find yourself having a common column in two, but this time round we have a regions table. It is having a primary key on on the column of region ID. So that's a primary key that this side, and then the other side of countries table you can be having another column for region ID. So it means that's a foreign key. A foreign key is a primary key from a table which has a what? Primary key. So for now it may look to be confusing, but you will understand it more when we start doing it practical. And then unique, assuming I a primary key by definition I say that it's a unique identifier, and then there's another constraint that we call unique. So you can be having uh, you can be having like maybe you're having a column that is having unique what? Unique data. Eh? Maybe you're having a table for registration number and then the student number. So a registration number, it's a what? Assuming it is the it's a what? It's a primary key. Eh? In that case. And then we want a student like we don't want students to be having the same student numbers, right? So we can enforce this constraint of unique. Remember uh, in a table you cannot be having more than one primary key. It must be one. Yeah. And then there's another constraint which is read only. So what we are going to look at basically in this tutorial, we are going to focus on these four: null, not null, primary key, foreign key, and then unique. And then we are going to get we are going to get clear understanding of on how we are going to implement it. And then we should be knowing what we call characters. Characters, like maybe we'll have a field for name. So we want a person, a user be having or an employee or anyone to be having the number of characters for the username or for the name. They're supposed to be what? 10 values. All two, all three, eh? Yeah, that's what you call number of characters or characters. We shall get to know about it when you're doing it practically. So I have a simple illustration. We have a table called results table. As you can see, it is having a column for the registration number, result ID, program, and then marks. So these are the what? This is the data that we have. A BBC, marks 20, and then we have another table called the student table, and then it is having these columns as you can see: last name, first name, registration number, then the what? Student number, and then the program. So in this table we want to enforce, assuming this is the what? The primary key. We are going to get a more understanding of constraints and then data types. So assuming we are having assuming we have a column which is registration number. This is a foreign key. we can enforce it to be a foreign sorry, a primary key. And then we have here the student number. You can see everyone is having a unique student number. So there we can enforce a constraint what we call unique, and here a constraint that we call primary key. So this is a student table. So you can find yourself you're having the same column in another table called the results table. So it means if this side this is a primary key, then the other side this is the what? The foreign key. Hope I'm clear here. So let me explain about null and not null. So someone must be okay. We are interested in knowing the first name, last name, but we are not interested in knowing the program that person is doing. As long as we have the registration number, doesn't matter. Eh? So we can leave this field of program empty or not. So assuming like we have a student called Kawalya Robert, having registration number of this, student number of this, but without a program, we can decide not to specify. Eh? So that's it. That's what we call a null constraint. And then there is what we call null, a non-null. Now, non-null means if a student if we have registered a student, that student must be, we should be knowing that a program that student is doing. Yeah, that's it. That's a non-null constraint. Yeah, and then let me explain about data types. So data types, I told you we have what we call varchar, and then varchar it is used uh, for for texting for text data. In this column of last name, we are having a field of Kawalya. So this is it qualifies to be a what? Uh, a string, a string word. Sorry, a string word. So it takes a data type of varchar or varchar2 or varchar2. And then for registration number, if you look at it, it is having it is having both letters and numbers. So that is what you call a string. So that data type for string words, it is what? Varchar or varchar2. And then this one, that this field of student number is only having what? Numbers. So data type that can be used it is what? Number. Okay, and then for program, it is a string or a text. So that is a varchar2 or varchar. That's anything that you can use. It is right. So that's it. So